There's almost no point cleaning your bike when this is your way out to Wales every weekend. This is affectionately known as Sheep Shit Alley on Strava. This is a beautiful cycle path over the Burton Marsh, and it's always covered in sheep poo. Nothing special in today's video, which I know is a weird way to open, but I thought I'd show you some of the nice infrastructure we've got leading out to Wales. These are different cycle paths that me and my dad took on this nondescript ride at the beginning of October. This is in a town called Holywell, which is known as the Lords of Wales, because there's a historic church that people would pilgrimage to, St Winifred's Well, and this is the ruins of an abbey behind me. And this cycle path just goes from the bottom of the hill to the top of the hill where the town is. It's a really nice piece of infrastructure. Unfortunately, the bottom of the hill isn't really anywhere we'd normally go, but it's nice for a bit of a change for us to go out. The reason we're heading up to Holywell today is because there's a very short, very sharp climb in the town that I'd like to have a go at. And so I've plotted a whole route around the idea that me and my dad are going to go and do assorted kind of 3 to 5 minute efforts on this ride. Relatively punchy, and otherwise we'll keep it cool. So coming down this cycle path, I didn't realise we would be there at the time of parkrun. For my non-British viewers, I don't know if you know about parkrun, but every Saturday, 9 AM, parks all over the country in the UK. It's a free 5k run that's set up and incredibly well organised to encourage people to go running. And there's clearly one up and down this path. I would not want to run back up it. These guys go down to the bottom, turn around those cones we saw, and here's the finish line under this bridge. Amazing. I like doing one in Birkenhead. I've done one down by my nan's. Me and Rhiannon used to do quite a few different ones. They're great. It was really nice to see and cheer everyone on. I had a big smile on my face seeing it. So this is into Holywell now. Unglamorously, this cycle path spits you out by Tesco, and then you're just on the main road. So just Penneball Hill. Penneball Hill, you saw the stats there. It's less than a kilometre. It's really bloody steep. Average 17%. And I hope the rear view shots today really do show you just how steep it is. It really caught me and my dad off guard. I think that's fair to say. We knew it was going to be hard. We knew it was going to be steep. And it's a bit funny because it's just like in the middle of this town. Holywell's not, it's not the centre of civilization, but it's a decent sized town for North Wales. So to just have this there.
Cheers, lads.
Crazy.
My dad's back down there, but you'll be fine. Just one more.
So I met the bin guys. They were sound as. They knew what they were doing. They knew that they had to wait there to let me through. There was no point. They're probably just as scared working on this hill as I was cycling up it. I apologise in advance that almost all of the metrics today are just well off. I had not charged my power pedals, so the power's dodgy, gradient's always dodgy, that means almost everything's dodgy. But hey ho. You can see that it was quite a wet morning, so I think actually on this climb that was quite beneficial for me, because I probably would have in my head gone, well, it's 3 to 4 minutes long, so I'm going to get out of the saddle and I'm going to smash it. And because of the gradient, you almost can't help but do 400 plus watts. So I think if I was able to get out of the saddle, I'd have picked a bigger gear and I'd have ended up doing 600. I found it really hard, but there you go. I've done okay with it. I'm quite happy to be fourth on the leaderboard. It doesn't mean much on these, right? They're just small local hills. It's not like the big hill climb guys have had a go. And there's a monument at the top of this hill. I don't know why, but whilst I was waiting for my dad, I figured I'd do some off-roading and I'd ride my bike up to it. Silly.
Good morning. Good morning from the top of Penneball. I don't know if it's anglicised or not, this double L at the end. But the top of Pennebath Hill, this monument, I don't know what it's for, but looked pretty. It looked like a nice place to film. So I've come from down there. I've not seen my dad yet, but he'll be there any second. That was really hard, like way harder than I was anticipating. Much longer, steeper. Meeting the bin men on the way didn't help. Really slippy road, very tough, very nick, very fun. We're heading over this way now. Beautiful view of the Clwyd. And we're doing some gravel over that bridge there. into the golf course. So, see you on the road.
So we did a nice bit of off-roading on that gravel. It was fun, it was stupid, we were still on our nice summer bikes. This ride finally convinced us to put them away. And I've done a bit more gravel here through the golf course. It is fun. Sometimes I like just kind of exploring, doing silly stuff like this. It definitely slowed us down.
Up a Nothing Hill. Horses and dogs.
I don't know why I didn't leave my camera on for longer then. Me and my dad accidentally rode through a Countryside Alliance hunt. Fox hunting is illegal in the UK, but knobheads still do it. I was furious, I fully shouted at them. There must have been 50 plus bloodhounds taking up the entire road. We had to get off our bikes as these bastards in red waistcoats on horses rode down. And I'm sure they would claim that they were doing nothing wrong, but you're not fooling anyone. Absolute scum. Anyway, I won't get into I'll say I won't get into it. I've got into it, haven't I? This is Gwesper, the next hill. We did this lovely descent all the way back down to the sea, lost all of the elevation that we'd gained. And Gwesper is one hill along from, for loyal fans of the channel, if you know Gwynasgord, it was one of my earlier videos. This is just the next climb down on that ridge. Much nicer, just over 1 kilometre, averages, I think it was 7%. And so what was really nice about this is it's a similar duration to Penaball in the end. It's sub 5 minutes, but it's seated the whole way. So for me, it was the exact opposite, you know, sit and spin. I say sit and spin, you can see in my shadow right there that I'm out the saddle. But I was just trying to hold, I don't know, 6 watts per kilo, give or take, for the entire duration here. And I just wanted to see what I can manage. It is such a sunny day that I struggle with the lighting in both directions because it's so bright behind me that the contrast is a bit weird. It's not so bad here, but on some of the other hills you'll see that. And it's so bright in front of me that I get a load of glare. So the views were lovely out over the sea, and it wasn't too cold on this particular day. And I found myself really enjoying this climb. If I can be honest with you, after we turned that hairpin, I had a howling tailwind. So although that does mean that I had a headwind leading into the climb, I think that's kind of okay. It's much easier to start with a headwind and to finish with a tailwind to keep your speed and power ticking over. Some people will tell you that you push more power into a headwind, and I've said it before, that's not true for me at all. I was gonna go harder on that and say those people are liars, but they're not. It's just different experience. But for me, the sensation of speed is a big driver to keep pushing. So if I feel fast, which with a tailwind I will feel fast, I'll push more power. And I did well on this climb, better than I thought. So 7th overall, but only like 20 seconds down on Dan Evans. That's good going. That's really good going for me.
So visibility is not great today, but if we zoom in a bit here, that's Hilbury Island, which is just off West Kirby. If you remember, I did West Kirby Hills. That's West Kirby. Visibility is okay from up here, but on the camera it's terrible. But yeah, this is Wirral. This is where I live. And this is the top of Gwesper Hill. It was really hard. It was lovely though. Like, I felt rubbish from the beginning, but I got this weird sensation of, but I can keep going. But you know, I can really keep putting the power down. Okay, 17 seconds off the com. But that's not bad, is it? On a 4.5 minute climb. I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, really nice. I'm not feeling great. I don't know if you can hear that my throat's starting to crack a little bit. I think it's just like leftover cold, if that makes sense. I don't think I'm ill. I don't feel ill. But I feel like I've got the lasting after effects. Whilst we're up here and waiting for my dad, I thought I should update you guys that if you remember, I did a bit of a whiny video where it was like, oh, Rhiannon's got COVID and I've got an arrhythmia. I spoke to a cardiologist about my arrhythmia and he said, you know, you do have an arrhythmia and you've got, I can't remember what else, something heart related. And he kind of suggested that it's probably been there with me since birth and I've had something that's inflamed my heart a little bit and it's just made me notice it. So he reckons I'm fine as long as I'm fine. So I'll stop whining. Here comes Papa. What do you make of that? Top's just up there.
That was alright there.
Good. There's your review. That was alright.
I Up to the top of there, we come through this pretty little village called Llanasa. It's only like a few houses on a corner, but the house on the left of this corner has a beautiful lake in its grounds and stuff. Really pretty little town, village, hamlet, I guess. But it's very picturesque. And on this video today, I wasn't really sure what to show you, to be honest. I've made it like an adventure ride video, but this is really just our normal stomping ground. But all I ever want to achieve on this channel is show you that Wales is pretty and nice to cycle in. So I appreciate this may not be a mass appeal video, and I apologise that they can't all be super exciting. But hopefully you enjoy this video as much as I enjoyed the ride. Look at these beautiful roads around Llanasa. We really do like cycling around here. And then, yeah, we went for brunch in Dyzeth, which is a nice town with a waterfall. And here is the next piece of cycling infrastructure. We actually haven't been for lunch yet. That was just the only time I could squeeze that picture in. This is a cycle path I've shown you before in the Gwynascored video. This is the Dyzeth to Prestatyn cycle path. Often we wouldn't take these paths. They are slow. You have to be considerate of pedestrians, dog walkers, slow cyclists. That's not a complaint. It's just not the sort of riding I normally do. But it is really nice to be off the roads and on some bespoke infrastructure. So this is a town called Flan with this lovely bridge. And I hoped my rear view camera was going to find the 13th century castle that was just to the right of that old shot. But none of it came out at all, did it? So Rhiflan, historic castle, beautiful bridge over the river Elwy. Really nice place to go, and we've taken this little cycle path to circumvent the A roads for a bit. I've never ridden this before, but it was nice to use, even if there were constant gates that said cyclists slow down. I took that as a personal challenge. And we spit ourselves out in Bodl Wyddon, which is near the biggest hospital in North Wales. Such a boring fact. Jesus Christ, Nick. Look at that nice church behind me. It's called the Marble Church. It's 18th century, beautiful spire, very impressive. I wanted to include this this climb because I told my dad this isn't the climb. We're coming up to a pretty little village called St George. And it's actually a really steep, nasty climb to get up to it. But that's not the segment that I was attacking today. So I told my dad it wasn't uphill, but I was lying. Now that I know where it is, I'd like to go back and do the whole hill, the hill into the village and the hill I'm about to show you. But that would have to be for another day. This looks like it's going to be the worst in terms of road surface, steep, claustrophobic roads. If you thought my Melanocoid video the other week was claustrophobic, scary for slippage, and like tight road, get a load of this one. Bloody hell. I don't know why anyone cycles up it. We're quite a long way from my house at this point, really getting into sort of distant ride territory. And the only reason I know it is because when I researched doing Penaball Hill, I saw that Giles, the KOM holder, when he took that KOM, also came out and did this. And I thought, well, that's a good idea for a themed ride. You know, short, sharp, punchy climbs. Let's just get a load of them in and see how my body's feeling. I'd just got over a cold. I'd had a week off. I was feeling a bit sorry for myself. And my heart rate reflects that in that it's often over 180. You won't see me over sort of 178 normally. Weirdly, I really liked this climb much more than I expected, even though you had to pick a line. It was almost like mountain biking. You could not just ride straight. You had to pick your line, otherwise you were going to fall off.
That was hard. It was hard. I actually think I did all right. We'll see what the numbers say. 30 seconds down on com. Considering I couldn't get out the saddle, I was just pottering up there. I'd potter in like absolutely full gas, but spinning is what I mean. I liked that climb. These are fun.
Descending back down into St Asaph. This is the back end of Bodl Wyddon. This is Bodl Wyddon Castle entrance. Very pretty. And St Asaph, you may remember my boring fact that it's actually a city. People don't realise it's got a cathedral. It's a historic city, but it's only got a population of about 4,000. So British things are weird, aren't they? I'm forever trying to capture this bridge and this cathedral on camera. I've put them in once again, but I don't think I've done a particularly good job of representing them. But, you know, St Asaph, nice place to cycle through, nice atmosphere, very old-timey, nice architecture, etc. I think it's at the confluence of the River Elwy and the River Clwyd. boring fact for you, but exciting for me because it means there's loads of nice bridges around and about. So this is a cycle path, just takes me over the A55. It's the closest North Wales has to a motorway. We absolutely don't want to cycle on it. This may not be pretty, but my God, is it practical. And in a way, that's brilliant.
Walking and about to do a hill. This is called Rwallt. We'll see how it goes.
Rwallt is a local sort of hill climb circuit. So if you've seen my Llyn Peninsula video, it's the last climb I did on the Llyn Peninsula ride with my parents on the corner cheering me on, and I was like dying of death because I was 330 kilometers in and I had to do this like 5-minute climb, but I was dying. I will never get close to the leaderboard on this because when the proper hill climbers come out to play, it's not like Penaball where just a few local people have done it. And you know, for an average local cyclist, I am quite good up the hills, but when you get to national level hill climbing, I'm really not anything special. So I wanted to see what I could do at this point because we were pretty deep into the ride and I'd done some big efforts and stuff, so I wanted to stay seated, spin my legs out, and stay as close to 6 watts per kilo as I could. That was my target for all these climbs. It's not picturesque, is it? It's the old main road before the A55 was built through. It's pretty ugly. I'm 70th on this leaderboard. I want to be very upfront about that. I didn't want to crop this and be like, oh, I did well this year compared to people. Like, being realistic about my own ability, I am often nowhere near a top 10 on Strava, even for my very best effort. This is coming back into the Hulkins region, and this is a cycle path as well. Coming through the town of Caerwys, on on video left, I should say, there's a nice cafe that a lot of people come out and stop at, and it's quite a classic, like, gentle ride out. Go to Caerwys cafe, stop at the cafe on the corner, and go back a flattish way. Lovely descent down from Caerwys to just to a main road that we circumvent immediately. Approach the main road, don't actually go on it, go straight back on ourselves, and up a hill. Weirdly, my dad had never done, but I'd done with my mum. Me and my mum went out a few times, just the two of us, many years ago. We must have got lost. There's no way we'd have gone, that's a good idea, we'll go for lunch and then we'll do this climb. So this was actually really nice. This was, in a way, this was surprise of the day. It helped that the sun had come out, the road was dry, but it was way steeper and more grueling than I expected. But it was also more interesting. It wasn't just a bit of a nothing, go up this little wall to get to the top kind of climb. It was quite engaging. There were lots of twists and turns, and you were out in the sun for a bit, and then you were down through the trees. Long straight segments where incidentally I could see a tractor coming, and then sort of crests. And yeah, I really enjoyed doing this climb, taking it on as something a bit different, which really wasn't far away at all. So whilst you take in the views of this climb, I wanted to say, do let me know what you think of this kind of format of video where I'm not doing anything as interesting. It's not like, oh, I'm going to try and batter myself and do 300 miles and all that kind of thing. I just want to show how varied and interesting Wales can be to ride in. And maybe I'll do some different themed things, because my last 200k ride I really found hard with the weather, and I think I'm going to have to knock them on the head, I'm afraid, for a little while, or certainly change tack a little bit.
So I hope you've enjoyed another video. I'll keep this one as brief as possible. This is the day before Hill Climb Nationals, so I do apologise that my video timelines are all over the place. Obviously that ride was, a good few weeks ago now. But I'll do a very quick summary of what the ride was like. There we go. Short, sharp and shitty. If I've not covered this in the VT, that refers to the climbs. They were short, they were sharp. The roads were pretty rubbish. But it was a really nice ride. It was a really nice day. And a pretty big one, nearly 100 miles, 150k is always a big day out, and not loads of elevation actually, less than 2,000 metres of elevation, but it was very hard. The defining feature of this ride was always returning to sea level, basically. Pop down to sea level before another punch. All of these climbs were a lot of fun. I really enjoyed them, and getting some cups, well, they're weird little climbs, you know, a lot of people won't have gone full gas, or there's like a million different segments you can do, so I wouldn't read too much into that. But it was really good. I hope you've enjoyed seeing a slightly different bit of Wales and a slightly different style of ride. For me, I did thoroughly enjoy it, and I felt pretty good actually after getting over my cold. Look how steep all of these look. They all look quite steep, I think, coming out of wherever, and this one, Care, was straight down, straight back up again. It was a bit soul destroying actually, that we do all this elevation, we get up high and then we drop straight back down to the sea, knowing we're going back up again. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. My head's a bit elsewhere at the moment, so I do have a video from a 200 km ride I did the other week, and maybe I'll do some content about nationals. I'm not really sure. I'm not really feeling it, so we'll see. Right, see you in the next video.